Believe it or not, it's another VO podcast with three guys who are full-time voice actors at different stages of life, career, and location.
But they have formed a bond and work together to hold each other accountable and help each other on their VO path.
Three guys from different backgrounds working together, helping each other, and sharing with you along the way.
Hey, what are we calling it again?
It's another VO podcast.
Okay, guys. Sorry, I get it. Come on, you're not my dads.
Well, the Super Bowl's over and we're back, and this is the Super Bowl of VO right here on another VO podcast.
The Super Bowl of VO. This is VO Atlanta.
It's going down.
It's coming up. It's coming up. Hey,
yeah.
Speaking of Super Bowl, did you guys know Mahomes and Purdy were both in elementary school the last time there was a back-to-back Super Bowl winner?
Oh my gosh.
Really?
Isn't that weird?
Wow.
Isn't that
That
weird?
is
Total
weird
sin,
because I
but-
feel like a kid,
Gosh.
and I wasn't
you
in
remember it.
elementary school. When
You
I
probably
was
remember
not
it.
in elementary school when there was a last back-to-back.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I was.
So,
I was adult. I was an adult still.
Right.
yeah. Well, congrats.
I'm
to
still
the
not an
Chiefs.
adult.
Congrats to the Chiefs. It was
Yeah.
a very good. It was a very good fourth quarter in OT. The rest of the game was kind of ho hum. That
Yeah,
was the
it was very
49ers.
nice.
I don't know. It was a battle. It was a
It
Yeah.
was. It was.
Yeah.
No,
But,
I
I
agree.
mean,
But the
hey,
game
you
was
want-
boring until the last quarter.
It was.
I mean,
We expected an arsenal of offense.
I did not with Brock.
I
Purdy.
didn't.
Yeah.
I did. I
You've
expected
got one of
more
the top
points.
defenses, in the AFC,
Yeah, but-
and that's how
but
the
the-
Chiefs got there this year was their defense.
Which is
But does
crazy
this-
because up until
does-
this year, they weren't that great defensively.
Right. But does the Super Bowl ever represent the stats? Never.
No.
Hardly ever.
yeah,
Hardly ever.
yeah, there
Hardly
are,
ever.
there are surprises.
But, this
I don't
was
think
the
there were
40
surprises though.
No,
It
I
was a
guess
whole
not.
That's why
bunch of
that,
three
maybe
and
that's
outs.
why it was boring
know?
to some people.
Yeah, a lot of 3 and outs. I was,
Mhm.
and I had forgotten this was the 49ers' 8th trip. They were 5-2, now 5-3. Sorry, and I really
Mhm.
had no. I know Alden's up in. He's up in Chiefs country, but I really didn't
I
have a
am.
dog in the hunt. I just wanted to see a good game, and I felt it was good. I mean, it was a really good closing. But anyway, and that was the first time in Vegas. It was a pretty cool thing. But the average ticket $8,600,
That's
and I
That's
saw
insane.
I saw a lot of
Yeah.
kids there. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, like I'm buying my kid an $8,600 ticket.
Heck no.
Not gonna happen.
How about I buy you
wouldn't even-
$1,000 86-inch TV,
Yeah, there
and then
you
we'll go ahead and watch it on that bad boy.
I got
Exactly.
an 85-inch TV.
Exactly.
And it was
Let me
pretty
tell you,
awesome.
as a Chiefs fan, how satisfying it was that the Chiefs are standing in the Raiders' home stadium,
Mm.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
and
imagine.
John Elway is one of the guys. An old rival of the Chiefs is one of the guys walking the trophy up to the stage.
Yeah. Well,
Pretty darn satisfying.
The last bit of wonderful statistics were there were 12 million pizzas consumed Super Bowl Sunday.
I believe it.
$1.25 billion spent on Super Bowl food and $16 billion wagered legally. Those are some big numbers. So
Man.
the economy, although it is not the greatest, there was apparently Super Bowl money to spend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
There's always
$1,200
money to gamble.
and $1,200 for the voice actor that did the commercial that ran on the Super Bowl timeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
had to have gotten
that's
more.
billions.
It's sad.
No, it'll
It's
be
sad.
it was more than that. But
Yeah.
so fun fact, I have a Chiefs jersey that I bought a while back, and
Who is
it's
it?
for Jamal Charles. So it says
Oh,
Charles
Jamal
on the back.
Charles.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
classic.
So here's the thing, though.
He was great.
Every
He was.
time that I wear that jersey, we lose.
What?
Yeah.
Did you wear it Did you wear it on Sunday?
Well, here's the thing. Last
You
Super
were.
Bowl, right? The last Super Bowl
He
that
bet on the 49ers and then wore the
that I
jersey.
wore it, we lost.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Oh,
I wore
so
it the
Tampa
whole
Bay?
game. Yeah.
Yep.
And then the last Super Bowl we won, I wore it for the first half and we weren't out winning. And I was like, I'm going to take this dang jersey off. And we won.
Yep.
And yesterday I was like, it's the Super Bowl. Like, I want to wear my jersey, right? So I wear it the first half. And I was like, I got to take this thing off. And then we win. So I don't know, man.
It's
I
like
don't know.
that eggs in the microwave thing these DJs do here in Nashville. They put eggs in the microwave and it predicts the Super Bowl, and they're like 12 out of 14 correct with it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
My brother's,
Crazy.
my nephew didn't have a jersey to watch the game in, and so my brother pulled out an old Chiefs jersey. It was number 87. It was Tamarick Vanover.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Anybody know that name? That's an old
I
Chiefs
remember
name.
that name.
Yeah.
Well, I guess enough about sports. This is a VO
That's
podcast,
fun, though. That's
so
fun.
let me jump into that. I want to touch on a couple of things today, and
The World Series. No, sorry.
We always have the thing that we can get all over the place, and we may with this because this is a real wide open topic. A couple things I want to talk about quality. First as a leeway, and then we're going to talk about the different worlds of VO, and where that's going to lead us is the thing of beginners and novices and pros. But what I want to look at when you get to a certain level, it splits off somewhere in that novice pro area. It starts to split off, and we'll get into that more here in just a minute as to why I see that or feel that, and what the difference is in these worlds of VO. We'll get into that, but we wanted to talk quality first, and because we are a all-inclusive VO community, I first want to talk about our favorite platform, Fiverr. Fiverr has instituted an all-new rating system, and I'm seeing it in all these Facebook groups, and people are mad, and they're getting knocked down, and they've always gotten 5s, and now they're getting some 4s. And I was a victim of that last week. I had a guy put in the comments how fast he got his order and how great it was and da-da-da-da, but he gave me a 4 on value for the money. So me being the nutball that I am, I went back to him and said, "Hey, dude, why did you give me a 4? I just want to understand because I want to better serve my clients here. I want to be sure that I'm not, doing this, doing that." And basically what I wanted to say was, you definitely got value for your money. You got fully produced radio imaging spots at a really good price. I was trying to help you. You're a new guy, new internet station. And, I wasn't being condescending to him at all. I was very nice, like I was trying to understand so I could serve people better. But by them doing this, they have really stirred up the pot, and they have made a lot of people feel maybe I'm inadequate. Maybe I'm not good enough at this anymore. And da-da-da-da. And that's not the case. So first, I want to say to all of you that are out there, if you're getting a 4, I work for a guy who would never give you a 5. If you got solid 4s, you got the best you're ever going to get at that company. And yes, and it affected your increases. It affected your bonuses because he would not give a 5. But some people will not. This guy gave me other 5 for everything else, but a 4 for value. I had another one give me a 4 on communication. And in the in the review he put in there, some of the best and fastest communication I've ever had on this platform. So, who knows why people do it? Maybe they fat finger it. Maybe it's an accident or whatever. But I know you guys have worked in other areas. This is true, not just with voiceover, and whether it's Fiverr or it's Upwork or wherever you're getting a rating. We get ratings on Voice123, voices.com.
Right.
People can or cannot review us. I have Google stuff. I know Jake got me into that, and I started pushing people for Google reviews, and thank
Google
goodness
business
they've all been
profile,
good.
man. Yep.
Yeah, they've all been good so far, but I could get a bad one, and it hurts our feelings. So what have you guys dealt with in the past with that? How did you handle it?
Well, to be honest with you, you touched on something like, reviews affect people not only just in voiceover, but really in anything. I mean, I used to work in restaurants, before I got my last full-time job before jumping into voiceover. But I mean, I worked at Chili's, right? Like everyone knows Chili's. And Chili's stupidly had this ranking, survey thing. And if your server, if you didn't get all 5s in all categories, which I'm going to tell you right now, there was at least a couple categories that you have no control over, as far as I think one of them was kind of similar to what Fiverr's doing. It's quality of the food for the price. If you got anything less than a 5 on there, your manager has to sit down and have a conversation with you when you have no control over that. But you know what that tells me is that the people in charge, Brinker International, Chili's or whatever, they don't care about how it affects the server. They want to know about them, but yet the server's the one that has to pay for it in one way or another. Just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it sounds like, I mean, I'm not on
Yeah.
Fiverr, not been on Fiverr, I've never used it kind of thing. But but obviously it impacts like how you're viewed from maybe someone new coming on, and they look at maybe the algorithm sees that you got a 4, so they don't pump you up into the into viewership.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Absolutely.
so like it's not taking an effect that way, and at that point it's just not fair, because there's probably people who are less talented than you that are getting pumped up because you have a 4, whereas maybe
Sure.
they
and
have,
they're doing it for peanuts.
right,
Yeah.
and they're doing it for
That's-
peanuts. Right, exactly. Oh
that
yeah,
really
I paid
affects it.
$5 for this voiceover. That's totally
What a
worth
great
the value, because
value.
I'm keeping
Yeah.
all of this money.
And-
Yeah, but
And this is not a pro Fiverr against Fiverr. I'm not trying to categorize people. I don't care. I'm just saying that it's voiceover. I know there are a lot of people on the platform,
Yeah.
and we're just using this as an example as to how ratings and things can affect what goes on. The
True.
quality. It may have nothing to do with the quality of your work, the quality of your sound, the quality of the delivery. It's just that somebody doesn't believe, and rating systems are awful, because if you don't get the 5s, and as Jake just said, somebody goes on there and peruses through all your reviews. Oh, he's got 3 reviews that value for the money is not good.
Mm-hmm.
But, this just started on there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't read very deep.
Yeah. So I used to be, in my past life, I ran training programs for customer service, right? And quality scores are a big part of customer service. And you should
this is your fault.
You should see the spectrum of why people rate the way they do.
Mm-hmm.
It could come down to, similarly in the voiceover world, the person that they spoke with, right? It reminds them of somebody they didn't like. Or it sounds like somebody that, it reminds me of this person. So even if it was the
just
best,
like my ex-wife.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you did a great job or not. They got that little, itch. So then they're just like, well, I'm going to give that a neutral. I'm going to give that a 3.
Well, that's when you need to
lot of people-
incorporate the get bit rule.
Yeah. A lot of people, right? So if you say, hey, 1 star is the best, right? A 1 is the best. And let's say there's no stars. 1 means you're number 1, right? Yeah, 1 is the best. When actually 1 is the lowest, 5 is the best, right? So they'll click literally on the lowest. So you'll look at the part that they typed in. It's like, they were fantastic. This and that and the other thing, blah, 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 was great. And then they give them 1 star, and it's like, well, that's a mistake, right?
Right.
So we would, in my old companies, we would contact them back, and we would ask them why. And a lot of those were like, yeah, 1's the best. Right. So there's that.
Fiverr is not doing that.
Yeah.
No.
They're not doing that.
Even if you put, though, that 1 is the worst and 5 is the best, how many of them don't read it? Because no one ever reads anything, myself included. I mean, at least when it comes to certain things I try to read, but people aren't reading stuff all the time.
Yep. And it's a click, click also. So, right. So if
TLDR.
it's a click, they might click 1, click another. And it's actually, they clicked on a 4-star or something, and then they hit submit, and they're like, oh, well, shoot. Well, it's still good. It's still good.
Are we saying it's semi-irrelevant? People don't read it anyway?
Well, it's
not irrelevant to the
It's
people
not
that
irrelevant when it affects us in the algorithm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not irrelevant.
That's
It's not irrelevant. I think, but I do think those mess ups are going to happen for people, that they can choose what a 1 is and a 5 is. They're in a cantankerous mood.
Or a 4.
It's an old term, cantankerous. They're in a cantankerous mood.
Hey, get you off
or
my
whatever,
lawn, you cantankerous
whatever
bitch.
their day was. But I do think that regardless of where you are and you're getting reviews, you need to know what those reviews are and do everything you can to try to communicate with the client about the review process. And that may be overt or covert. I don't know. But at the same time, we now have this new question for those who are on Fiverr of value for the money. People who are on Fiverr do not understand the pricing of voiceover, of the voiceover world.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly.
People who are running Fiverr, voiceover was unexpected. I don't think they knew that's what was going to take off on Fiverr. They thought this was going to
Is
be a
that the
place.
biggest stuff right now on Fiverr?
I think
No,
it's
No.
in the
video's
top
not
3.
the highest. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I think it's
top 3 or 4, but it's
I think
not.
it's in the top 3. I don't think it's it's the highest, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and that was the reason I wanted to on there. I was going to close my account, and I thought, well, I'm just going to jack my prices up, and that's what I did after Top Rated Seller.
Yeah.
And that did help. Then they came out with that pro program. They offered it to a lot of people by email, and you didn't even have to qualify. They just gave it to them. I went through the qualification process. Well, you're in the waiting period. We'll let you know. This went on for months. Then a couple of days ago, they come out with a thing that they're basically going to shut that down. They're not taking any more applications.
That was very short-lived.
So it's been around a long time. It's been around since I've been on their platform, but nobody wanted to do it because you couldn't price anything below $100. Well, when I was brand new, I couldn't have got $100 order to save my life on there. There was no way. But now I don't want to do anything under $250, $300. So I'm trying to price where it'll at least hit that by the time they buy their rights, which they are usage, and most of them try to skew around that. But I got back to them and I said, look, I don't think it's not right. You're killing a program. I tried to get in. I never got a response. Well, let us revisit your application and we'll let you know, which I probably didn't hear anything. But I wanted to do that where I could have all my stuff tagged pro, jack the price even higher, and leave it. Because like I said to me, if I get something from there, great, they're going to pay for it. If I don't, I don't. I don't count on it. So it's different for me. But anyway, let me segue us out of that.
Well, can I circle back?
We may have an episode on quality here.
I wanted to hear what you had to say, but I had more. And if I could talk to the people who do try to work on Fiverr for their voiceover strategy in their career, see this value for the money as an opportunity to educate your clients that you find on Fiverr, because they're not educated. They don't understand what the real world rates are because they see so much on Fiverr for $5, $10, whatever. I had somebody on Fiverr reach out to me, wanted 6 spots. They wanted it for $150.
What kind of spots, though? Broadcast?
They were. I'd have to look. I think they were social media, so they weren't broadcast, but they were still.
They're still usage payments. Yeah,
I'm not doing it. No.
Mm-mm.
I said we're really far apart on price, and then I gave them like $800, $900.
Mm-hmm.
So I said we're not, $150 a piece. Sure, $150 for all 6. No, that is not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so educate people on price on Fiverr.
They do not understand.
No, they don't.
And usage on there.
Yeah.
Most people.
Well, haven't you got?
Well,
You guys had issues with that, right?
You got to think about it. A lot of those people too are newer. They're starting out, cash cow channels. They're starting out whatever.
Yeah.
And we didn't know when we started, and we were that voiceover people charging. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like there's got to be a little bit of like, we can't just be mad at everybody that comes on, and that they just don't know, right?
Right.
But I think any strategy for a good review for Google, for whatever, the best thing for me is, like I said, doesn't matter what platform you need, wherever you're going to get any kind of customer service or a want for somebody to come back, is good communication and relationship building.
For sure.
From the beginning, right?
Yep.
You make them feel like, wow, I can work with Charles. I can work with Jake. I like Troy. Alden seems like a pretty good guy. He's on top of things. He's asking all the right questions. Wow, he's asking me questions that I didn't even think about, but those are really good. Mm-hmm. And wow, I feel organized. I feel like this is the professional that's going to do their job.
Yeah, it's in good hands.
And it's in great hands. I can sleep well this weekend, and then when I come back on Monday, they're going to shoot me an email with my recording, and it's, wow, this is great. And then it's like, hey, if there's any pickups, I'm in the studio all day. Just shoot me a message or text me or whatever you want to do. And then they're like, great. And they just feel comfortable, and they feel like I can count on this person. And then when they get that in their head, well, guess what? Next time a project comes up, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember Alden. I remember Jake. Yeah. Troy really helped me that time. So, hey, we got a new project. And then there you go. And so
100%.
In the big scheme of things, I think it's just making sure that you're doing your best job for that client and to make them happy and make their clients happy with them. So their clients come back to them and then they come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it right there. It's just good communication, making them feel safe, making them feel like they got their money's worth. And, you were worth it.
Yeah. You can't just blow people off and this and expect good reviews. No way. I think one of the challenges on there, and Alden, I agree with your education process. One of the challenges on there is the way things are named for usage.
Yeah.
And they're standardized. They would give you 2 check boxes. When you're brand new, I don't even know that you had that. I can't remember. I know eventually you got more options you could add, like later custom options and whatever. But at first it was just commercial and broadcast. Well, I'm going to tell you something. 99% of the people in the world think commercial means a TV commercial, a radio commercial.
Yeah.
And they should have called it something else because broadcast rights.
Non-broadcast.
That's what most people needed. There should have been a non-broadcast and a broadcast, or there should have been business use and broadcast or something. And to make it where we didn't have to explain and fight for all that crap. We shouldn't have to fight to get paid.
Yeah.
And that puts you on the offensive and that makes you look bad.
And my hat's off and my thanks to the Fiverr voiceover community who worked so hard to educate people and added things like social media rights or, social media campaign rights and things just to show that there are different avenues that advertising and voiceover is going to be used, but all of them require some kind of rights, some kind of usage rights. So I appreciate the many, many VO who worked hard to educate, because I think Fiverr paid attention and they made some adjustments. Not perfect. They didn't go all the way they should go, but it's
VO is just like you said, 3rd or 4th down the chain. It's not,
At least,
and then as revenues have tanked for them in the last year, they have seemed like they've given it less and less attention. And we're not trying to make this a lift up Fiverr or a trash Fiverr or anything with Fiverr. It is what it is. It's out there.
It's just they're the example right now. I mean, if this was 1, 2, 3 or VDC, we'd be saying the same kind of stuff or whatever.
You're talking about the worlds of voiceover. That's I'm
telling you, if VDC and V123 started ranking us based on our reviews only, we would be having the same conversation.
Exactly.
Because,
this was just what's going on.
This is
now.
just the one that popped up, and we're like I said, we're not pro, we're not anti. It's just if you're on there, heck, be sure you're standing for your pricing and getting.
What it
paid.
seems to me is that people that the companies don't work with the people that they work with versus the people that pay them money for the service, if that makes sense. It's like they don't how
I know what you're
about,
saying. Yeah.
You know how you're talking about thanks to the VO people that have helped at least shape certain aspects of this. They don't do that enough. And I've seen that not only in voiceover, but I saw it at shows when I worked there. I saw it at the last job that I worked at. If if the people that bought out the company that I was working for would have worked more closely with us, the employees, the people that work there that have to deal with the stuff that they're putting out versus worrying about how much are we going to sell? And we got to make sure we look good, blah, 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 blah. They probably would have been so much better off as far as keeping the morale high with the people that they were buying, essentially. And the same concept here. It's like, why not work more closely with the people who are actually selling stuff on here, who are causing people to spend money on them, who are causing that, and in turn making us money as well? Why not work with them? That's always so weird to me because it's bass backwards. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's like you're not working with the right people on this thing.
I think it's partially because of their customer base, right? Like their customer base income, right? Because agencies aren't going to Fiverr. You know what I mean? Their target audience has about this income and, or generally in this area, and this is about what they're probably going to spend. So we need to target to that price range.
Yeah.
And I think if they targeted to what prices should be, it would be way out of range for the majority of the clients that go on there. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably part of the reason.
Yeah, that segment of their business wouldn't exist. And they do a lot. I mean, there's a lot of virtual assistant stuff on there. There's a lot of, tech help you can go on there and get. There's a lot of graphics things. And I go there when I want to change a logo, or I want to do things with my logo. I hired a guy on there to fix, and Alden, you remember this, and I think I shared with you what he did. He fixed, all my DNS stuff and my website to make things work. So my emails would stop doing this and that.
I use the same guy.
Yeah, and what, $25 or something,
right?
And he gets on with you live and logs in and fixes it in your system and does it, and he's gone, and he got $25.
Yep. All of a sudden, your email is no longer bouncing.
Yeah, everything started working, and they have so much going on, and I guess it all, there's so much of that is not equivalent to what goes on in the VO business, but the platform itself is built to cover everything. Yeah, they're all segmented out with this kind of gigs and that kind of gigs and whatever, but the rules and the way it works and the algorithms are probably across the board. So it's tricky. I mean, anyway, and like like Alden said, and what Jake said as well, they listen more to the client than they do the artist.
Or the seller, who's in turn making them money. Like, that always baffles me. But,
and the online casting is not that much different.
It's not.
Well, Troy is.
I would love for them to have more focus groups,
right?
Interactive
and actually
things.
listen to them, because I sometimes feel like focus groups are guises.
Well, they have things on there where you can go in and send in your comments and suggestions and whatever. How could we make the site better for you as a voice actor and da-da-da-da. But, are they doing anything about it? I don't know. I mean, I've always been one said on a level playing field, if every audition was released to everybody and you could just pick and choose. And if you're not fast, they all come out to everybody at the same time. And this one's not for me. That's not for me. Oh, there's one for me. Bam, jump on it, get it done, move on to the next one. Bang, bang, bang. I don't like someone else deciding for me what I see. That's up to me. And Jake and I know this. We have an agency that sends us everything. Then we decide. Am I fit for that? Nope. Am I fit for that? Nope. And I skip a lot of their stuff because it's not a fit for me. I wish I had that same opportunity. Although, yes, on the platforms, I do see things I'm not a fit for. And
100%.
But I also many times, and you guys have sent me, did you see job number 56124?
100%.
This is going to be perfect for you, Troy.
Well, it's great for you, man. It's a Southern accent. It's actually right in your backyard.
Yeah.
I meant to tell you guys the other day.
No, and Voices says,
you guys sent me a job the other day.
Guy,
You're like, Jake, this is perfect for you. And I was like, I haven't seen it yet. And you guys, you will. I have not seen that job come. Never saw
because
it
the reference, okay, I remember sending that one.
Wasn't it a picture of me? They were like, we're looking for a voice that matches.
Yeah, they're like, they gave a rereference link to a video or a YouTube video or something. And it was like, I thought it was Jake. I was like, dude, this is,
I'm missing.
I was like, this is you. I was like, this is exactly you. This is exactly what they want. Because I was higher ranked, I got it first. And I was just like, well, just wait, because you're going to get it. And then you still didn't get it.
Yeah. Never got it.
Yeah.
I
remember you guys talking about that.
I often wonder from the client side what they would say. Would they care that somebody pays $2,200 and sees it quicker, and this guy pays $800 and he sees it tomorrow, and this guy is higher up and he sees it? But do they even know? Are they trusting in the site to do that, or do they care?
Well,
or would they think, I'd rather everybody see it that way?
No,
I don't think they care.
I think there's a balance.
That option when they
I think there's a balance because number one, if I was them, I'm busy, right? I want to get the best. I want to get the best auditions for this spot and I don't want to hear 1,000 of them. I just want good ones that come in. So for me, I would let's say I was with a company and I have a little bit of a budget or whatever. I don't even know how the pricing works on the client side on Voice 123, but I would want I want the top people, and I want 50 auditions max.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
if I put that out there,
the high paying people,
say again.
Does that mean just because you pay more, that makes you a top person?
Well,
not necessarily.
We're talking about 1, 2, 3. It treats those differently, so you can be in the top 20% and not be,
in the platinum. Is it platinum?
Platinum and premium are the two terms, I think.
So I don't pay the very top tier, but I still pay an expensive tier.
Anyway? Yeah.
But the thing is, whenever that group 1 comes out, it wants, let's say, 15 that are in my tier, the top 10, 15 members of the top 10%. So I still get thrown into that group, into that group one. Yeah. And I'm not paying double the price for the super top tier.
Mm-hmm.
But then see, that's when the whole ranking thing comes in, because Jake, like, I was actually thinking of messaging the person that sent that thing and been like, you need to contact this person or reach out to them because they're going to be a perfect fit. Well, here's the thing. The only way I could message them is if I accept that audition. So I'm going to send them something and they're not going to give me a short list for it. So then that goes against me in my ranking. You know what I mean? So it's just like this.
Well, here's the thing. The reason I suggest that is because someone we all know, and I won't get into it just in case, just to keep everybody's, just to keep this method. Someone that we all know who is in that higher tier had suggested someone else we know for a job.
This is so coded.
All I'm saying is someone that was in that highest paid tier who, because they pay that highest paid tier, the algorithm does not touch them, does not hurt them or help them. They're just automatically in that top spot. They were able to suggest somebody else for a job, but if exactly, so if so they were able to suggest them for a job and it didn't affect them, whereas you would definitely have to worry about that affecting your score. It's understandable. I'm not sitting here going, dang, Charles, why didn't you do that? You know what I mean?
Now, because sometimes the clients in the audition itself will have their email or their phone number, be like, hey, if you have any questions, contact me.
Sure.
I would have 100% instantly jumped on that and been like, hey, my name's Charles, this and this and this. This person's going to be the best fit for that spot.
Jake's your guy. Yeah.
This is the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's all good.
That's just us helping each other out,
Yeah, I probably would have risked getting a ding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Dang.
But you know what? Seriously.
See you guys later. Bye-bye.
That was Charles.
I'm going to go ahead and turn off this slide here. I'm going to go ahead and shut her down.
No.
If I was on the client end of that, I would I would be really appreciative. I'm like, he's probably is the guy.
Yeah.
And for, if Charles is recommending Jake in this scenario, I'm going to go to Charles again. I'm going to make sure I invite him to auditions, because if he's not the guy, if he is the guy, he's going to give me great auditions. And if he isn't the guy, he's going to point me in a pretty good direction. So
the guy that knows the guy.
Service on top of service.
Yeah, could
the
be
guy that knows
sure.
the guy.
All right, so we ready to take just a few minutes and talk about this other side?
Wait, real quick, before we talk about...
Which side were we just talking about?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about... Before we
sides?
talk about the other worlds of VO, I want to hear each of ours best in a world of VO. Troy did one earlier, but you can do it again. Let's just do it, just for fun. So who wants to go first?
Alden.
Oh, come on.
I'll go first since I suggested it.
All right.
Okay. Here we go. In a world of VO.
Not bad.
All right.
Not bad.
Are there two worlds?
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just because it's like we're talking about.
Yeah. What about that other world? Like, keep going.
In a world of VO.
That was good. That was good.
You're good.
All right.
In a world of VO.
Ooh. All right.
Okay. In a world of VO. That's all I got, fellas.
I can't do it.
You were laughing already, Doug. I think you were laughing. You were just sitting there going,
I'm like, in a world of VO.
Yeah, could you do it less smiley?
Yeah,
is what the director is saying. Less smiley, please. Where there are two worlds of VO.
Hold on, I got to psych myself up. Sorry for the people that are listening to this and can't see my face right now. So go watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
In a world of VO. Hey, see?
Okay.
Pretty good.
Even
Pretty
got
good.
the Elvis curl going on.
In a world of VO.
Pretty mama.
Pretty mama.
Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff.
Troy, let's hear it.
Troy.
Oh, I did mine earlier.
You did yours. Let's hear it again. Get it over
Prepare
here.
and get ready. Shake it out and do it.
In a world of VO.
Ooh.
I like the breathiness.
All right, let's get into it. I'm sorry for the little delay. I just thought we'd have
we got, we took up probably a little over half on that. But let me tell you, that's going to be beneficial. There's so much discussion. People are asking, which platform should I get on? Where should I go? Which one should I do?
I've been seeing that lately. Or how do I get a voiceover agent? Can anyone send me a list of voiceover agents?
I'm still seeing that. I'm thinking about getting on one of the pay-to-plays. Which one? Which
Yeah.
one's better? Why
They
is
were
it
like,
harder on
okay,
this one
well,
than that one?
here's
I'm like,
which one? There's a ton of them.
You know what, though?
Try
This
'em out,
topic's going to make it sound like
honestly.
we're telling people not to get into voiceover. Because, I mean, like, it's like, how could you not?
Well,
But it's literally just talking off an experience.
yeah, and I know I refer to him a lot, but he has some really good comments on Facebook. Somebody
you, I
had posted
appreciate it.
about being down in the dumps, and they've been at this 2 or 3 years, and they just felt like they had just hit a wall, and and they kind of backed off for a month and whatever. And the comment made was, and I'll give him credit because I don't know that he listens, but if he does, he'll know it's his comment. But it was Mark Ryder who said, "You can only jog in voiceover," and he said, "I've been jogging for 18 years,"
Which is
whatever.
encouraging. Should be encouraging.
And he said, it's what it is. But he said
Yep.
the bottom line of it is the passion to never want to stop jogging.
Mm-hmm.
You just
Damn, it
have to
sounds like a
realize
Nike ad or something.
That's,
man. That's
you
pretty good.
can't go any faster. You can't go any faster. You can't make it go any faster.
That's beautiful.
You just
though. I
have
love
to
that
chug
sentiment.
along with it and believe and love it.
Mhm.
So
Single tier.
and that's kind of
Single
where
tier going down.
John
where this
loved
is headed.
Yeah.
That's kind of where this is headed when I was talking about the worlds of VO is that a couple things, we just talked about all these platforms, where beginners start out, and then there are the worlds of beginners and novices and pros. There's the world of hobbyists. There's the world as beginners, there are ex-radio people. There are ex-actors, ex-performers, ex-presenters, teachers, etc., that have something that gives them a little bit of an advantage coming into this.
Mhm.
And then they are all beginners. They're doing these certain things, and they're going in tens of thousands of different directions to learn. They're either getting on these free platforms. They're either spending a lot of money doing it properly through coaching and training, or they're just doing it on their own and they're watching YouTube and Facebook and whatever, and they may break in.
Or they're
They can
falling into traps. 'Cause
exactly.
There's a lot of
Exactly.
There's a lot of kind of not so good.
Well, there's
people out
scammy
there.
stuff out there.
I mean,
Yeah,
and that's
scams.
every
Yeah.
industry, that's every business. But
Sure.
Right.
I just want to point out real quick, too, when Charles and I did our workshop a couple of weeks ago, one of the first questions someone asked was like, what about the scams? And we're like, we're going to get to that. So people that aren't even in VO yet know that there are scams out
They
there.
know
Like,
they're out
yeah,
there.
I
You
mean,
gotta
they
know
are
they're
out
out
there.
there.
How
yeah.
dare they talk
You
about
gotta-
your workshop that way?
Yeah, I know. Well, we sent them packing pretty quick.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No,
That's
I'm just
awesome.
kidding.
yeah,
That was good.
So once you establish under your quote unquote beginner thing, and there's buckets and buckets of things under the beginner thing, and then let's just say you get through all that. Now you're a novice, and you're probably doing some online casting. You may have an agent, or you're looking for an agent. You could be doing direct marketing, et cetera, et cetera. So now you're in that middle class thing, the novice, whatever. You're making some money. You're getting some coaching, things are going along, and then there's the next.
What I'm sorry to butt in.
No,
What would
no problem.
novice? What would you consider novice? And like the amount of money, like you said you're making some money. Like what would that kind of novice range be?
Let's say you're making more than you're spending. Let's say that.
Okay.
All right. So you're to a point where you're not just having to constantly invest. You're actually showing a profit, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you made $8,000 and you spent $6,000, on coaching and equipment this year, but I made a couple thousand. So I'm starting now. I can reinvest and keep moving. Maybe I'm going to put that money into a pay to play, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So you're serious. You really want to you'd love to do this full time. And then what you'll see then, I think another step becomes as people become pro, semi-pro, whatever we want to call it, as they move into a more professional, whether they're full-time or not, there are two different, I'm seeing there's a split off of two different things. And I think we're all in this, what I like to call the popular world, because we're involved in these Facebook groups. We're going to VO conferences. We're trying to get agents. We're getting work from certain places. We're starting to climb the ladder. We're somewhere between year 3 and year 5. We are seeing return. We're making a quote unquote living. We don't do anything else. So let's call this the professional level, but there are avenues in this professional level. And here's where I want to stir the conversation and get feedback or input from you guys to see, am I seeing things crazily?
Mm-hmm.
Because there are us who we are, like I said, we're going to go to conferences. We're going to go to these coaches, and there are these groups of coaches we all know about, and these are the groups of coaches we all go to.
Mm-hmm.
They are the seminars and the workouts that we all go to, and we see all these same groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct? It's usually these same bundles or clusters of people.
Yeah.
We see some new people coming in. Sure, conferences and stuff are for that. New people, they come in, they check it out, and they either stay or they go. But in this professional world, and what got me started looking at this was, as I thought, it's time to go fishing. I don't know that I'm ready, but I need to go fishing for a bigger agent.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the regionals. I'd really love to have a bigger agent. I'd love to get some at-bats that are big,
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
not just, so I thought, where do I go? So first thing I should do is go on their roster and look at who's on their roster. And I start scrolling through the roster, and I see 1 or 2 out of 200 names
that you recognize
that I know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Who's these other 198 people
that are good enough to
they?
be with these top agents?
They're on Atlas,
And
they're on CESD.
Yeah.
And I think your point is that no one really knows who they are.
We don't know who they are.
Well, and it kind of goes back to what Linda was saying, and I can't remember if she said it on our podcast or if she said it when we were on hers, but there's a bunch of people that are killing voiceover that we just don't know because they're not part of the groups.
Right.
They're not part of the, they're not, maybe they're part of NAVA because, I mean, that's a great thing to be a part of anyway. But I mean, like, but they're not, they don't go to the conferences. They don't have to kind of thing. I mean, look, I'm not knocking the conferences, but I mean, like, eventually, like, I feel like you really wouldn't have to. I think you should definitely at least try to go to one in your journey, just because one, it's a great opportunity to meet other voice actors.
Sure.
And everyone is just so dope. I mean, like, and anyone that's not dope, they're the ones that get pushed out to the side. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just saying, like,
and I
there's
know
people that don't have to do all this stuff that you think you have to do and dive into and invest into. And I'm not talking about your equipment.
There is the point.
I think they're past. I think they're past the point of needing to really make those connections, needing to really be in the spotlight to be seen by other agencies and other managers. I think they're because they had to have. I mean, they're where
they're
they are
20
now.
years in, maybe.
Yeah, they're where they are
or
now.
More.
And like social media and all that stuff wasn't around maybe when they started. So that wasn't an option for them. So they probably did more face to face. They did, workshops, local things. I'd probably be right to guess that about them because me personally, I don't know anybody since I started, like almost 3.5, 4 years ago. I don't know anybody that has started and just blasted off to the top. Like,
which isn't that encouraging too?
It is.
It is. Yeah.
But it also, what Charles brings up makes me look at it this way. Is this that we're seeing and we're doing, is this the new world? That how they got to where they got, you probably can't do that anymore.
Nope, I don't think so.
And every industry has
doing
that.
what we're doing, the networking, the conferencing, the workshops, this, that, to get in front of the right people who can get you out of this tier. And I think we're in that 3 to 5 tier. And then I think there's a 5 to 10 tier. And then I think you're in that legacy. You're
legacy
whatever.
tier.
Yeah, you're either in it or you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I kind of look at between 3 and 5. You will get to a certain point between year 3 and 5, and if you're not really hitting a stride in year 5 to take you on up, it would worry me or concern me if I were in this and in that position. And that's something to think about.
Well, I mean, again, things were done so differently. 5, 10 years, maybe 15 years before the pandemic started. And then the pandemic brought on this whole new aspect. I mean, like there were some people that were already doing like the home studio stuff, but it wasn't very common. And then it became like, then it just kind of like
that's
blew
the new
up,
norm.
Right? That's the new norm, right? So,
and I think, there were a lot of people maybe thinking about doing it and the pandemic triggered it. It's like, okay, it's time to do it now.
Yeah, you know what sucks is, I know I talked about this before, is like I literally was thinking about doing it before the pandemic started. I started doing it before the pandemic started, but like so close to when the pandemic started, it makes it seem like I did it because, like, as a reaction to the pandemic.
Yeah,
when in actuality, I was already like, sitting there doing it.
It's okay to claim that you're a pandemic story.
I'm not.
Don't down the clown.
Only if you are, Charles.
I'm telling you, I'm not a pandemic story. But anyway.
Same here. No, Jake, we have a similar story in that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
I had done some voiceover work really 6 months before the pandemic. And so, but the pandemic kind of
Well, I'm a pandemic story, so I guess I'll see you guys
me
later.
too.
I know. That's good.
Me
That's
too.
your second time,
Me too.
Charles.
I know.
Well,
I'm the same way.
But
There's
Charles,
nothing wrong with that, Charles.
yeah.
I was
Both you-
thinking about it a couple years before, and my wife was pushing me to do it, and I thought, I didn't know you could do it at home. I thought, where am I going to do that?
Right,
I'm in
yeah.
Nashville. There's nothing. I can't do that.
It's
There's
funny.
no studios in Nashville.
A dream of mine
Yeah.
when I was a kid, and it's not voiceover, but I always wanted to do Foley when I was a kid because I loved making sound effects with my mouth, like just noises, and
That's what I
Jake's
do.
super good at, like, he's super good at especially particular noises and sounds. But like I was fascinated because I went to Universal Studios when I was a kid, and they showed a Foley artist, and it was like they had shoes in their hands and they were
Yeah.
like walking on rocks, and then they had the movie in the background. I was like, oh, there's a whole thing of and I didn't even know it was Foley. It was a sound
Right.
effects person,
Uh-huh.
I didn't know till just now.
Yeah. And they're called
That's all Charles sees when he watches those movies.
Troy,
He sees the background.
It's
He
funny
sees
because
clip, clop,
I listen, and if a sound effect doesn't really fit, or it's like, well, it should kind of be like a clip clop and an echo because they're in the hallway, but
Right.
it's just the clip clop and no echo. Like I notice those kind of things.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And you got to understand that, like, to make the movie or the scene believable and paint this real picture in your mind, you got to understand all those little things that, okay, well, there's a a curtain over there in this, so it's probably going to deaden the sound a little bit, or what, you know what I mean? Like they got to really know what sounds sound like in those environments. And I don't know, it fascinates me.
Yeah, honestly, Troy, if you've never seen this before, after we get off this, you should YouTube the Foley artist and then like Jurassic Park, and they do the scene where the raptor's being born and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen people doing the Foley stuff. I just didn't know that was the name for it.
Yeah,
some reason.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew what it was.
That makes
because I've
sense.
even seen a guy
Totally.
like step on an egg to get the certain crack sound.
Yeah.
Breaking
Yeah.
bones
And
is like
break the
celery,
egg.
Yeah.
like necks breaking and like it's awesome.
Yeah.
I was watching behind the scenes of Lord of the Rings the other night with my girlfriend, and there was the growl of the Balrog, which is the big thing that Gandalf fights in the first movie. They could have easily used what the recording they had and added reverb to it and stuff like that, but they found these underground like tunnels that it was natural reverb that they just could not like replicate, and so they took all their equipment down there and just spent time recording
That's
this
awesome.
stuff.
Cool.
It was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not voiceover
That's
related
neat.
at all.
Yeah, I was gonna
We're
say it's
getting
like
off
this
on
is
nothing.
Still,
super tangent,
still.
but that's what happens. on the show.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
coming back to the world.
Yeah,
parallel,
really.
parallel industry, right?
I think,
Parallel.
yeah, I think we hit on something that was what I was trying to get to as a wrap for us to each talk a little bit about it, is that it has transcended. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
There are levels that you get to. I still think there are a couple of directions that things are going, because there is, and I don't want to call it the scam way or whatever versus the right way. There is some of that, but I think there's an approach to hobbyists and part-timers and et cetera, versus people who truly want to do this for a living. And some of those people may want to, they just may not have the time or the ability or don't feel like they can. And that's fine. If that's what you want to do, I think that's fantastic. I've said a couple times, I wish I could have stayed part-time longer, because I think it would have given me the opportunity to invest more. Maybe I could have gone to the European retreats and stuff like that and gotten that training or whatever. But on the other hand, I kind of treat it as, you work hard at it, and you work hard, you go hard, you practice hard, you market hard, you do all that. And that's what we're doing. And then is there another side to it still, or do we see now in these worlds of VO, when we look at the old world and the new world, is that the way we should look at it? There was an old world and it was done that way. And that's all these people on these rosters we don't know pre-COVID or even further back. And now, since COVID, all of the marketing of how to get into VO, all of the strategy to get into VO, the conferences, this, and how things have exploded and grown. Is that the second world? What do you guys think?
I definitely think it might be I guess, second world in the sense that, like, how about this? I think it's probably more so the new world, and I'm not saying that the people that are in that first world or the old world are, like, gonna be, SOL or anything like that. I think they're obviously well established at this point. They have their regular customers. They have most of those people are probably set in terms of their finances if they need to retire for any reason or if they for some reason couldn't keep up. That's besides the point. All I'm saying, I think this new world and has just kind of had to adapt to what happened a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And more people are finding it easier to at least take a dive into it. Now, again, just because you dive into something doesn't always mean you're going to be successful.
But this is all we know, right?
This is all we know. Exactly. This is all we know. I mean, like, again, like, I came from that acting background in the beginning, so beforehand anyway, so I kind of already had an understanding of the agency side of things and how that works. But we come to find out that you don't necessarily need an agent to get those well-paying gigs, you know what I mean? And stuff. You really just need to know how to market yourself. Or you just need to be like Charles and be super talented and don't have to market yourself, and you just get jobs all the time.
Talent plus schmooze.
We are. Talent plus smooge equals Charles.
Yeah.
We are seeing even more diversity with the four of us because of that.
Sure.
Because of, and it works good for us in the accountability world because we are all four still have a ton of similarities working in this new world, but we are also seeing that we're getting work from a different streams. Charles's streams are different than Alden's, which are different than Jake's, which are different than mine, but we have a ton of similarities.
Yeah, there's crossovers in those streams too, but then it's not just, okay, we're working out of this one bucket. Like we're kind of we all take out of this little bucket, but then we all take out of our own little other buckets too.
Yep. Because all right, so let's go around the horn here and let's talk about real quickly your high majority. So if you say I get paid the most from here, if you don't want to say, that's fine. But if you want to say this is where most of mine comes from, and we can categorize it like pay to plays, which would be VDC V123. We'll call the pay to plays non-paid platforms. We'll just call it that. I get most of mine from non-paid platforms, or I get most of mine from direct marketing. I get most of mine from agents. I get most of mine from whatever. Yeah. All right. So Alden, what about you?
The last couple of years, most of mine has come from direct marketing. So direct clients that I work with, whereas, and it might be like 60-40. So lump all the platforms into the 40% and about 60% is direct.
Yeah. Okay. Charles?
I would say starting off, it's probably 90% pay to play, 10% direct and through my website. But the thing is, I would say 40 to 45% that started on pay to play have now become direct.
That's key.
You know what I mean?
Those of you listening.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
All right, Jake.
You know what? I mean, I've talked about this before, but like for the first, I'm starting my 5th year right now. My first 4 years, majority of it has definitely been pay to play, more specifically, voices.com. I've had a great ROI on there. I don't know. It's funny when people talk about which one should I get on? It's like, I almost want to say I've had great success on voices.com, but I more often than not see people say I don't do well on voices. So I don't know what I'm necessarily doing in particularly different than everybody else that's having issues with it. I've just, for some reason, have been able to do pretty well on it. Now, I will say this year, which has been started off with a bang, I've booked on all aspects. I've booked with an agency. I've booked with direct clients. I've booked on platforms. I would probably say majority of my income this year, just from January till now, has been direct, followed by agency, and then pay to play.
Yeah.
So
that's a good swing.
Yeah. I mean, I like money, period, but I'd love to get to a point where I don't have to worry about pay to plays. Now, if I'm still getting a good ROI, then I don't see why I would drop a pay to play.
Right.
At this point. I know earlier in the year I was talking about maybe trying to test the waters jumping on voices.com, but I mean, like, I've already I mean, like I just renewed and I've already made my money back. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a good ROI on there, and I think it was important. I needed to learn that for myself. Like, look, you're still having a good ROI regardless of what you think of the platform. If it's still making you X amount, of your income a year, then keep working with it until you don't need it or it's not working for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll just go off the back of that because that is exactly what you need to do. And for me, I dropped off of voices.com, not because I didn't make my money back, because I certainly did and more, but the time I spent auditioning, the return I was getting for that, because I count, and we all count that as a part of our ROI. It's not just the money you paid for the platform, but the time you spend investing in those auditions. What is your return? And I was just seeing I was making more from my direct marketing. And I'm thinking, if I took that time I spent auditioning for voices.com jobs and turned it into my direct marketing, I felt like I could have more return for my investment. So that's, I've been off voices.com for about 3 months now.
Yeah. And I think it's a strategy. The strategy is always going to be different for different people. Right?
Yep, you've got it. And it's your business.
Yeah,
you have to pay attention. You
find what works for you.
Yep.
And go for it. Because I think in the industry overall, just being in the training background and facilitation, I mean, it always comes down to 3 things. It's going to be skill, will, or drill every single time.
Okay.
Like, if you don't know the skill, like getting into voiceover, you don't know the skill. Well, you're not going to do well, right? But once you learn the skill, now you know the skill. But now you have to drill, because now you have the skill, but you don't know how to use it, right? So then you get coaching, you get training, you get these things, right? So, and you get your auditions in, you practice editing. Now you're good. So now you have the skill, you have the drill, and the big part is the will. Are you willing? Because now you have these things. Are you willing to do the coaching? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to go with the ups and downs? Are you willing to stick it out? Can you stick it out? Maybe you're willing, but other things, dictate, if that will is going to push through or not. And I think those 3 things, and that really goes with everything in life and any job and situations. It's a will, drill, or skill. You don't know it, you get taught. Once you get taught, you don't know how to use it, but you do it over and over and over, and you got it down because you got it drilled. And now do you have the will to take that to the next level?
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. Mine has taken way too much drill time, I feel.
Well, I wanted everyone to hear the 4 different aspects, and my percentages are probably like 60% direct, probably 20% paid platforms, and about 10 or 15% of non-paid platforms where I still pick up some work. And then there's that 5% of, I just want to call it other, where I might get paid to help on a workshop, or I might get paid for something that wasn't really VO business. So about 5% of my income is really non-VO type stuff. Well, guys, we're pushing an hour. I want to wrap things up. We may end up splitting this into the quality episode and then the other episode. I don't know. We may let it all run together.
I did want people before.
2:30.
I did want people to hear that, there are many different worlds of VO. There's old worlds, new worlds. There are different avenues in the new world. I wanted folks to hear about the differences that just the 4 of us have in an accountability group, as to the differences of where our income's coming from. But the last part of this that I want them to hear is, in an accountability group, the idea is to lift each other up, support each other, and to have some differences to where the other 3, other than yourself, or the other 2 people, or however many you have, are able to take something from that and apply it to what they're not doing and maybe do it.
Right.
And sometimes 2 of you may have, with 4 of us, 2 of us may have a couple things very in common that we're trying to do, and those 2 can even pull off and work together on that one thing. And the other 2 guys may be working on another thing, like Charles and Jake are doing some local workshops. That's awesome. Alden and I aren't going to drive down for that, but that doesn't mean we're not supporting them.
Yeah, we were pretty bummed about that you guys didn't show up, so it's cool.
Yeah, we knew. But we're 1,000% in support of that. Of course, they could have done a conference call and put us up on the screen, but that's okay. No, I'm just kidding.
I have no doubt that you guys knocked your
I'm sure they had a blast.
Oh, we
and
did.
I'm looking forward to doing that for the local high school this year on Career Day. I'm going to be doing a presentation here for Career Day.
Dope.
That'll be neat.
I expect to be on Facebook Live. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Facebook Live. But we just wanted to
Charles
get this
goes back
out
to high
there that
school.
there are so many different roads, so many different directions, so many different scams, unfortunately. Please vet everything. Pay attention. Get an accountability group like we've done. Stick together. Stick to the road. Be very cognizant of everything that's going on around you in this. Don't listen to everything you see in these Facebook groups. Vet things. Dig into things. There are many worlds out there you could be drawn into, and some of them are not where you need to be.
In many
Guys,
worlds.
closing comments?
I'm going to reiterate what Charles says. If it works for you, keep doing that. And if people got issues with it, that's probably because they weren't successful in that avenue and whatever. Look, there's going to be times that maybe you get criticized for how you did something. Well, oh well. Always try to improve. I would try to definitely see what is industry standard. And again, we've said this so many times across our podcast. We even have an episode recently. Know your worth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Alden?
Yep. Well, we talked about the ROI. That's going to change from time to time. So you need to know who your business is and go back and reevaluate, So even though I jumped off of voices.com because when it was time for me to renew, the ROI did not look good enough for me.
Yeah.
I'll go and re-examine that again here in maybe another 3 months and see if that's still.
Who knows if 200
true.
or 300 people don't fall off.
Yep.
And we start seeing, and here we are in the accountability group, the three of us saying, hey, Alden, we're starting to see on there's not near as many people. You might want to get back. Really, seriously, who knows? All right, Charles.
I think that it's paramount that you keep a very good working relationship and communication with your clients. Make them happy. Deliver your best work. Get back to them on time. Deliver things early. Be available for them. And they're going to feel safe with you. They're going to like your work and they'll come back. Or they will, if they don't have work at the time, they also are in an industry where they know other people that do the things they do that need voice actors. So referrals are there too. So it's all part of the big picture. So just do your best to build that relationship with your clients.
Awesome. Well, hopefully some good advice for everybody from four of us who are out there churning and burning every day. It's been tax week, Super Bowl week. It's been a good week. Everybody's on fire so far this year. Really proud watching you guys this year. You guys it really does make me swell up inside with pride because, we've all worked together and we've all pushed each other, and to see you guys, to go through your heartaches and then to see you taking off.
Yeah.
Man. It's really been great this year.
Yo, Charles is just driving to the launch pad right now. We just waiting for that button.
He's waiting on some of that
who's going to be driving?
Yeah.
Who's going to be driving to the launch pad? I think we won't say it, but hopefully we're going to be like, Jake, let us go with you.
Yeah.
Can't talk about it, guys.
Can't talk about it.
Let us go.
Well, I think we always have auditions that maybe are on the back burner that could turn into something. And
anytime.
Yep.
That's the thing. That's one last thing real quick. You never know what an opportunity will lead to.
Yep.
Exactly. Thank you, Jake.
That's what we're talking
100%.
about earlier. You got to get those at-bats, and that's what we're looking for is upping our chances with better at-bats. It's fun to play in the minor leagues, but the majors, when you step up to the plate in front of a big crowd, that's what it's all about.
And then when you smack a homer or a grand slam in the majors, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, baby.
We need an episode that's just all analogies because fantastic.
Toll roads, here we come.
I know, yeah. Well, let's not make it this one.
Yeah.
This has been fun. I think it's been a good one. I hope people enjoyed it. A lot of good information. And hey, hang around. We'll be back next week with another VO podcast. See ya.
Hasta luego.
Later.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of It's Another VO Podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. You can also email us your questions to anothervopodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram at Another VO Podcast. See you next time.